And welcome, Mindsetters, to this session of grade 12 math literacy. Hope you guys are ready. Actually, on that note, I want to say something special. Make sure you guys stay tuned on today's show specifically because we've got Rob Macefield from the Mathletics who's going to be coming to talk to us about the SA Math Challenge. So make sure you guys stick around for that. But for now, I'm here with Peter, who's going to be taking us through today's show. Peter?
I think you just insulted me and you don't know that. Okay. You actually told the viewers to stay tuned because someone great's coming on. I mean, like, what am I here? Hey,
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
too late. You messed that
hug.
one up. Folk, it's Thursday. Thursday means two things. Number one, it means it's time for mathematical literacy. And number two, our sound technician back yonder said it means it's quarter to Friday. And I like that. I've never heard that phrase, but Ibrahim, I like that phrase. Well done. So welcome. It's quarter to Friday, which means it's time for mathematical literacy. Today, what we're going to actually be doing is we're going to be looking at graph work. Okay? Now, graph work can be quite simple, but it can also get quite complicated. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with a very basic graph work kind of question. Okay? And then we're going to go on to more complicated stuff. Right.
All right.
I'm going there. You do your thing. See you just now.
All right. Cheers. So on that note, Mindsetters, make sure you get on the page. Let us know what you guys are thinking. Make sure you know the link, www.facebook.com/learn extra. Get on the page. Let me know what you guys are thinking. If you're lost and if you need help, make sure you post it up because as I always say, I cannot help you if you do not help yourself by getting on the page so I can get those questions from the page to Peter. It's a pretty simple process because the thing is we can't read your mind as much as we would love to, and then we'd make this whole process easy. Like imagine if you could read your teacher's mind. That'd be so awesome. But anyway, make sure you get on the page and chat to me. Let me know what you guys are thinking. But for now, I'm going to hand over to Peter. Peter, take it away.
All right, before we even get started, people have been asking kind of questions, and my wife even asked me this question. She says, why is it on TV you look so much fatter? Well, I'm going to explain why, all right, because I know people that know me as a slim, trim guy, but on TV I kind of look a lot bulkier. And the reason for that is there's twofold. Number one, normally at the back here there's attached a whole, box thing which has got all the sound in it. And then number two, they fill us with kind of padding in the front to help with that sound. So normally if I take the padding off and take the bar, I'm really a slim guy. But that's the real reason why. And you know what, sometimes as well, it looks distorted on TV, okay? I actually go for jogs every morning and things like that. So I just wanted to clear that up there for all you viewers. Okay.
But Peter,
so,
I just have a quick question.
Yeah.
But why don't I look like you, though?
Because your voice is not as important as mine. Right, now, if we look at this, what we've got is a question on graph work, and I see to you we're going to start on a very basic question and then make it more complicated. So let's go for it. Jane participated in a sponsored 20-kilometer walk to raise funds for AIDS orphans. The organizer encouraged the walkers to have a 15-minute rest during the walk. The graph showing the distance covered by Jane against the time taken by her is given below. Okay, so here's our graph, and we have Jane, and she's quite a wonderful person because she's going to try and raise money for orphaned AIDS victims, okay? So that's what she's doing, and so she's going on this walk. And so someone who's very bored is plotting her speed against the distance that she's covered. And so what they've said is this, that at 7 o'clock, she's covered no distance whatsoever. Why is that? I suppose that is because she hasn't started the race. So it looks like from our graph behind us that at 7 o'clock in the morning is when the race is actually starting. And then she's going to walk. And she walks and she walks and she walks and she walks. And something happens here at 9 o'clock. And then something happens here at this time, and we'll talk about that soon. And then she walks and she walks and she walks again. Okay, now, let's read the questions. First question, at what time did the walk start? Guys, we've just discussed that, hey? Can you see what I actually did? I looked at the material that was given to me, okay? And I looked at it and tried to analyze it for myself before even looking at the question. Now we've looked at the question and already I can know what the answer is. Why? Because I've analyzed a lot of that stuff in my mind already. I've already looked at it, drawn a lot of conclusions from it. Now I'm looking at the question, and it's going to make my answer, make it a lot easier for me to answer those questions. Okay, so what time did the race start? There it is, folk. We started at 7 in the morning. Next question. How many kilometers did Jane walk during the first hour? Okay, well, if she started at 7 o'clock in the morning, and an hour later will be 8 o'clock. Now, that means that's the distance she's covered. And if we draw a line along there, we'll see she covered 6 kilometers. Straightforward. There's nothing hard about this. Okay? Nothing hard about it at all. Let's move on. My next question says this. How far had Jane walked by 10 o'clock? Okay. So here's 10 o'clock. And now what we're going to do is we're going to say, well, at 10 o'clock, let's draw a line and see how far she's walked. So we're going to try and draw a relatively straight line. And there it is. And we're going all the way up. And that's how far she's walked. Okay? So how far is that? Well, if we draw another line across, we're going to say, well, that is at this distance over here. Which is what? It's going to be at 16.5 kilometers. Okay. Again, folk, there's nothing difficult about this, but I told you this question was easy. All right? So we're just learning to read off the graphs. Next one. How long did Jane take to walk the first 9 kilometers? Right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the 9 kilometers. Oh my Gideon, I don't know what I've done here, but I know I shouldn't have done that. So let's just get rid of that. And the whole page has just jumped away. I don't know why that has happened to me. But these things, there we go.
There we go.
Okay. It's always a bit of a relief when like things go wrong, and that's not the relief. The relief is when things come right again. Okay, so let's try it again. The question did say, how long did Jane take to walk 9 kilometers? So I'm going to start at 9 kilometers and draw a line, and there it is at that particular point. If we draw another line down, we can see that she actually got to the 9 kilometer mark at 8:30. But that's not the question, hey? The question is, how long did it take her to walk? Well, if she started at 7 o'clock, and at 8:30 got to the 9 kilometer mark, she's taken from 7 to 8, which is an hour, 8 to 8:30, half an hour, 1.5 hours. Okay, so that's my answer. Quite simply, it's taken her 1.5 hours. Right, next one. After how many hours of walking did Jane rest? Okay, now, guys, whether we like it or not, this kind of question you're going to see repeatedly in your grade 11 year. And here's a little hint. You're going to see it quite often in your grade year. Why? Because when I look at all the past papers, there's always, or not always, but a lot of the time, this kind of question comes in. And the question that they always ask is, when has she stopped walking? Or when has he stopped walking? Or when did he stop driving? When did he stop to get petrol? Okay? And it's when, take note, at 9 o'clock in the morning, he's covered, and let's draw a straight line here. Okay, I'm going to use yellow. Why? Because I want to. At 9 o'clock in the morning, he's covered 12 kilometers. By 9:15, now let's have a look at this. This is 9 o'clock over here. Over here is 9:30, so I presume halfway means 9:15. Okay. Now at 9:15, here it is. She's still, where? At the 12 kilometer mark. That means when she got to 9 o'clock, she was 12 kilometers. 9:15, she was still 12 kilometers. So what's that mean? That means she went and then she took a break. Okay? And she just sat there for 15 minutes watching the crowd go by. After 15 minutes, she started walking again. So, we know she stopped at that point. Let's read the question. After how many hours of walking did Jane rest? Well, she started resting at 9 o'clock. She started at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Folk, 2 hours. Okay? So that answer's straightforward. After 2 hours of walking. Take note, doesn't say what time. It says after how many hours. Right, let's move on to our next question. Our next one says this. Give an estimate of the time at which Jane finished the walk. Now, it does ask us for an estimate, and the fact that it asks us for an estimate tells me quite clearly I'm not going to be able to read that answer accurately off my graph. So it's got to be an estimate. So let's have a look. What time does she finish the walk? Okay, so let's go all the way up here. Do you notice she finishes the walk at that point? At this point over here, it is 10:30. At this point over here, it's 10:15. She finishes just before 10:30. So what I'm going to do, let's rub all that out because it looks rather messy and yucky. What I'm going to do then is say this. If this is 15:15 and this is 30:30, if I break it into thirds, then I've got 5-minute intervals. Do you agree? 9:15, 9:20, 9:25, 9:30. Now, by looking at this graph very carefully, you can see the red line doesn't quite make it at 9:25. So I would say it's after, after 10:25. So I'm going to say let's go for 10:27 or 10:28 or even 10:29. Okay, but you cannot say 10:30 because it wasn't exactly on that point. Happy? Also understand our examiners are nice. People that mark your papers, hopefully they're also nice. So hopefully they will say, you know, we're going to give or take. If the answer is 10:28, we're going to accept 10:27 and 10:29 as well. All right, because I know that's what I do with my papers, and hopefully other examiners are the same. Right, my next question. Here we go. Choose the graph that shows each projectile's height as time goes on. All right, now folk, we're now coming to paper 2 stuff, okay? And now what we've got to actually do is use our brains and do a little bit of thinking. This, what I'm going to do now, is not easy because there's a certain perception we're going to get in our mind that I'm going to tell you to take out of your mind right now, okay? Let's have a look at this. So what we're going to do is we're going to show each projectile's height as time goes by. So basically what's going to happen is we're going to throw something in the air and we are going to try and plot the graph of what we've thrown in the air. Now I'm looking around here and I've found a tin here, and so I'm going to throw this in the air and I'm going to catch it, hopefully. Yeah, there I did. Okay. And what we're going to do is we are going to try and plot the height of this thing as time goes by. Right, so let's read the question. Lydia fired a model rocket. Okay, we don't have a rocket. We've got to pretend this is a rocket, okay? She fires this rocket vertically upwards. So it goes straight up in the air and comes straight down again. Okay, so up it goes, loses its height, does a U-turn, and comes crashing back. And hopefully Lydia's run away by the time that's happened. Okay, she shoots it up into the air. Now, what graph best describes that projectile or that rocket when we're looking at the height and we're looking at time? This is a nice physics question as well, hey? So if you do physics, hey, pay special attention. All right. Now, a lot of people look at this and say, you know what? The rocket is doing this. It's taking off, going, ew, doof. No, it's not. No, it's not. This is not showing the path of the rocket. This is not showing the path of the rocket. It is showing what happens to the height as time goes by. Now, that's a difficult concept to try and understand, because so many of us think, well, if I shoot a rocket, there's the graph, it means the rocket's doing this. No, it's not. She shot the rocket in the air, it did a U-turn and came down. So now what a lot of people are doing is saying, hey, check it, graph D, there it is. It's going up and it's coming down. Folk, remember, these graphs are not showing the route of the rocket, okay? They are showing time or the height over a period of time. Now, if I shoot a rocket into the sky, okay, so we light it and it goes firing off, and there it goes. It's going to take off at quite a velocity, okay? So there it goes, shoots up, and then what begins to happen? gravity kicks in. And so the rocket is going to slow down. Okay? And it's going to go slower and slower and slower. And eventually it's going to kind of stop, and then it's going to come down. And as it begins to come down, it's going to fall faster and faster and faster and faster. Why? Because of gravity. Okay. I'm going to do a little experiment here, and I'm going to use Ty. So I'm going to ask Ty to come and stand next to me, and we're going to do this experiment. All right, Ty, come stand next to me. Here we are. Okay, there's Ty over here. Hope the camera's on us. All right. Yeah, show them your good side. Turn this way. Okay.
Yes,
no,
totally.
I'm joking. All right, there we go. Now, Ty, I've got this can of beans, and what I'm going to actually ask you to is just to get on your knees. Hopefully they'll still get you in the camera shot. Okay, the producer will shout at me if she can't get you, but I just want your head. That's all I want. Okay, so there we go. So Ty, if you look up now, if I drop the can from this height, you're not going to worry, are you?
Not really. It'll kind of sting a little. But
Okay, well, let's see. All right, so there we are. And now I drop it, and, oh, there's quite a cushion in this hat here. Okay, so I drop it, and it doesn't really hurt. You felt it, but it wasn't really bad. No. Okay, all right, now, Ty, if you look at, if I drop it now from this height, okay,
then I start getting worried immediately.
It might get hurt. If I drop it from this height, so Ty, now look at the camera, and don't panic, okay? And now when I drop it, let's see what happens. Okay, and no, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. Okay, all right. Ty, you can go back. Thanks. So what's actually happened? The can has remained the same mass or the same weight or whatever you want to call it. This is not a science program. We'll call it, I don't know, you're supposed to call it mass. Hey? It has the same mass. But, so why, when I drop it from this height, it doesn't hurt Ty very much. But if I drop it from here and I drop it on his head, it's going to hurt him. Why is that? It's the same can. Okay, it's the same head, all right? It's the same hollow thing it's going to hit, yeah? Okay, what's the difference? The difference is the speed at which it's going to strike him, and it's because of the gravity. So as something now goes up in the air, it slows down, because gravity's pulling it down. It turns, okay, or it's just going to come straight back down. So it goes up, and now it comes down. And it's going to go faster and faster and faster and faster and faster, and then hit the ground. Let's see which graph best describes that.
Do you
Let's
think
have a look
before we go into the next question, you think we should take a quick ad break?
Not really, but I suppose you've wrecked the whole atmosphere now, so let's take a break then. So.
It wasn't intentional. I just followed instructions.
Right, folks, looks like we're taking a break, huh?
All right, so mindset is make sure you do not disappear. Make sure you stick around because, yes, again, make sure that you are here because we will be talking to Rob real soon. So make sure you don't disappear. We'll see you after this break.